We are presented by WynnBET. Betting is a team sport. Bet together at WynnBET. Eric Allen here in the studio on the eve of the 2022 training camp with Jets offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur. How was your summer?
It was good. It was a combination of just kind of checking out and relaxing, but also just a ton of family time. And, it's like I was telling you, we never got on a plane, which was nice, especially with all the air travel. We made everyone come out to us, which they had their own problems in the airport. But it was good. We had every single day we were with our kids at some point and just watching them run around and doing the stuff you don't get to do over the next 6 months.
What is vacation like for an offensive coordinator from the the end of mandatory minicamp before now?
Everyone kind of does it a little bit different, but for me, I mean, you're going to be thinking about ball at some point, right, through that break, and sometimes that's I think where you're going to come up with some of your best ideas or what you think is going to be your best ideas. But at the same time, I'm a big family guy, and I want to be present for my family, So when you're there, you got to be there because again, for when we get back, tomorrow and throughout training camp and the season, you don't get to see him very often, and when you do see him, you got a lot on your mind, So in that month, we all as coaches, we owe it to our family, we owe it to our closest friends to be there, to be present, and to just enjoy our time that we have with them in the summer.
So after you enjoyed maybe a day on the water, and you and Matt have put the kids to bed, and maybe you're having an adult beverage, do you guys share some football stories and some football knowledge?
We do. Probably not as much during the summer as what people would think. We talk all the time during the season, and then we're obviously only basically talking about football, checking in on our kids, but talking about football. But we had one day this summer where him and I put in quite a bit of time, of ball, more so than we probably ever have in the summer, which was needed. We just were cross-checking some things, but also we do play them a little bit in mid-season. You obviously want them to win every single game except for the game that you have to play them, and unfortunately, but fortunately, we get to play them this year, So, but it was good. We don't try to talk too much football around the family, but we did get to sneak away for a good 6 to 8 hour session.
So, who set that up? The 6 to 8 hour session, was that coming from you or Big Brother?
We both. I mean, you just kind of as the off season when you get back going in January, February after the season, you just have a laundry list of stuff, and you just kind of keep checking those boxes as the season goes or as the off season goes on, and he's going to watch us, we're going to watch them, and then you're going to have questions, but you'd rather do it in person as opposed to over the phone. So it was just kind of was one of those things that, we both wanted to get together. We both had our questions, wanted to just cross-check what, we've been studying, what they've been studying, and see what we could integrate within our offenses.
Is that going to be agonizing for the family when you guys do match up in the regular season? It was different last year because, hey, we got some training camp practices, some friendly stuff. We're learning from each other, and then we have a preseason game. Right.
My mom, that was the most relaxed she's ever been for a game between, with Matt on one side and myself on the other. But it's not real fun for the family.
No.
Some people have a little bit more fun with it than others. My mom does not like it at all. But we're kind of getting used to it now. In 2017, my first year in San Francisco, he was with the Rams, so we played him twice that year. 18, he went to Tennessee. We didn't have to play him. And then 19, we played him twice. We played him in the thick of the regular season, and then we played him in the NFC Championship. And those were, especially that NFC Championship game, that was pretty rough on my mom and some of the people in the family. But it is what it is. It's in this case, the Jets versus the Packers, and we're you wouldn't want it any other way. So it'll be fun.
Let's talk about this offense a little bit. You've always said, and anybody who talks, even going back to San Francisco and Kyle Shanahan, that it's predicated on running the football. When you hear that, how accurate is that, and why does it set everything up? Why does it set the wheels in motion?
Yeah, I mean, it just makes you not one-dimensional, So you always want to get the ground game going. You get the ground game going, you control the clock a little bit, you keep the defense off the field, you keep them fresh, and it's just playing playing team ball. Some weeks you're going to be able to run the ball better than other weeks. A, because of the scheme. B, because maybe some of the players on the other side are pretty dang good at stopping the run. But like you said, it does set everything up. If you can get a run game going, all of a sudden the defense has to trigger a little bit more, and now you're opening up that space, behind the linebackers in front of the safeties in the corners to hit some of those explosive intermediate plays, and to get guys running out in space, and you make a guy miss, and that's where those explosives come about.
It's kind of an old school philosophy, though, right? Because I think when people think of this offense, they think pass first.
Yeah,
which you have the ability to do.
Yeah, you never want to go in like. We want to run the ball. We also want to throw the ball.
Yeah.
We want to be explosive in both facets of it. Again, it's just trying not to be one-dimensional. We all feel like we can get on the board and draw up and scheme up some really good plays. But at the same time, when you're throwing the ball, the offensive line has to block a very good defensive line. The receivers have to separate, against good secondary. The tight ends against safeties. A lot of things have to happen right, for a pass game to be successful. In the run game, a lot of things have to happen right too. But there's a few variables that are taken out of it, because the backside might miss a block, but it's outside zone to the front side, and if the first combination gets their block, really didn't even matter what happened on the backside,
right.
So there's just there's less variables, but equally as hard to have success.
Zach Wilson's athleticism, how does that change what you do as a play caller, because he is so comfortable on the move? Because you have coached guys who are a little bit less mobile, want to live more so in the pocket, but here's a guy who we saw that a little bit in his first year, and I know we're going to continue to see that as career goes on.
Yeah, there's no secret that when he goes off schedule, he's pretty talented, and so you want to be able to build, not necessarily going off schedule. You want him to do that organically, right? Like, just when a play breaks down, if I call a bad play, don't make a bad play worse. So if that means you go off schedule and go make a play, go make a play. If that means throw it away, throw it away. You got to do what you got to do in that moment. And that's just playing sports. That's playing quarterback. But like you said, you want to be able to also design plays. Obviously, the easy ones are the keepers or the nakeds, the boots, right. What people call them. But there's also different ways to get them on the edge. We messed with some wrinkles this offseason in the OTAs. We did a lot of studying on some things to kind of get him off the spot a little bit, if you will, to let him do some things that are very, very natural for him.
WynnBET is now live in New Jersey, and they're bringing the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas to online sports betting. Get in on all your favorite teams, players, and sports, from boosted parlays to live in-game odds on every major sport. They have what you need to win. Sign up today to receive a special offer, risk-free $1,000 sports bet. Download the WynnBET app now or visit wynnbet.com to start winning. WynnBET, an official sportsbook and gaming partner of the New York Jets. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at wynnbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in New Jersey. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-270-7117.
What about up front? And we'll get to the skills of players here in a minute. But what do you think about that guard combination on the interior and Laken Tomlinson? Let's start with him, because you were with him in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Why was that such a huge signing for this team?
Because he shows up every single day. It's known, just the track record of how he's out playing every single Sunday. He doesn't miss. But what people don't see is he doesn't miss practices either. He is always available. And not only is he available, he's very talented at what he does. He brings the right mindset every day, on and off the field. He's a great locker room guy. And on top of it, when we got him in San Francisco, he was with Detroit before that. He didn't have a ton of success in terms of a lot of wins. Detroit wasn't winning a lot. And then we got to San Francisco. We weren't winning a lot early on. And he saw for lack of a better term, a rebuild in San Francisco from where we were to where they've brought San Francisco now. He's been to 2 NFC Championship games. He's been to 1 Super Bowl. So anytime you can bring guys in like that have won and been in those locker rooms, that have won at a high level, it's only going to help everybody else, because he's been there and he's done that.
How unique is it in terms of being a young player, Elijah Vera Tucker, his attitude, where he played pretty well his first season? Yep. You guys said, hey, we're going out free agency, we're going to bring in Laken Tomlinson. And, oh, by the way, we wouldn't mind you moving over to right guard. And he says, yeah, I'll definitely move over. And what can I learn from him? Yeah,
no, that's it, totally. And that's, when we kind of asked him or brought up the idea, it's just AVT's mentality. Just kind of, I'm good, coach, whatever you need, and it's true. And, you want to keep guys as much in the same position as possible, no doubt, just so they get comfortable. But that's not always the reality. There's so many injuries. There's so much stuff that happens that you are going to get shuffled around a little bit. And for the reason of moving him over to right to bring in Laken, it just made sense. And, to bring in a guy like Laken and then have AVT going in that second year, you couldn't be – I know myself and John Benton, you couldn't be as excited to have that guard tandem there. And Connor McGovern in the middle. I mean, it's as cool of a guard center guard combination that I personally have been around.
Yeah, and people are going to be asking you a lot of questions this summer, especially early in the summer, about what's happening at tackle. What do you think the competition is going to do for both of these guys? George Fant, he wants to stay at left tackle. Mekhi Becton was clear here in the spring that he's hearing the criticisms outside, and he wants people to eat their words.
Yeah, no, it's and I've answered this before in terms of kind of how that's all going to play out. It'll play itself out just organically. We're going to have a lot of practices out there. They'll be moving around. Like we've said, George has earned the right to play some left tackle and to show what he can do. He had a tremendous year last year. He only got better as the year went on. He was playing his best ball in that back half of the year. He approaches every day like a true professional, so he's earned that right. And get Mekhi back will be huge. It was unfortunate how it went down last year in that first game, and just it's a large man with a lower body injury. You and I won't understand. Like he's that big, so we don't know how it's going to be coming back from one of those injuries when you are the size he is. But he's feeling better. Just excited to get him going. In August.
We talked in Mobile, Alabama at the Senior Bowl. Totally different landscape now, especially for your young quarterback. Can you talk about what is around him, some of the offseason additions, and how that is going to possibly lead him to having maybe the mentality that I don't have to do too much here, just play within the system, because we got a lot of guys who can do things with the football.
Totally, and that's how you want all quarterbacks to be. That you don't want them to feel like they have to do everything, because once you start pressing and trying to do stuff, that's when bad stuff a lot of times happens. Some good stuff will happen, but a lot of times bad stuff will happen. You want them to play within the offense, whatever offense that is. And like I said, when you when I call the bad play, don't make a bad play worse. And so what does that mean? It means you go make the best play for the Jets at that time. And Zach, you can do that at a very high level when I do call those bad plays. Sometimes, hopefully, I do call a bad play, so you can just go do that. But like I said, just to answer your question, he's got some pieces around him that Joe and his staff did an awesome job of adding for this organization, and it's only going to help him on the field.
What about the tight end position? A complete overhaul there. Such an important position for you guys in San Francisco previously. When you bring in guys like Uzama, you mentioned Conklin before, you draft Rucker. What can the tight end not only do for a quarterback, but do for a quarterback in your offense?
Yeah, I mean, it's the easy thing is the security blanket, right? But that's you got those bigger bodies kind of over the middle when you're looking deep, and then you're checking that ball down. You're getting it to some of these bigger bodies that are sure-handed. The cool part about the guys that we brought in, starting with CJ again, very similar to Laken. He saw it from the ground up in Cincinnati. Obviously going to the Super Bowl last year. So you're bringing in a guy that we've heard was a great locker room guy. That was probably an understatement. He is a phenomenal locker room guy. So it's just been awesome to get to know him and to watch him within this offense can be pretty fun. And again, just being in a locker room that went to a Super Bowl, bringing in that knowledge of those big games and what it's going to take week in and week out, that's going to be so valuable for so many young guys that we have on this team. And then you look at Conklin to be able to bring in two, which was incredible by Joe and his staff. The thing about Conklin, and I'll relate it to Laken, he shows up every day. I think he's missed, one game in 4 years. He was out there every single day in OTAs. Like he doesn't get nicked up, knock on wood, but his body, the way he trains, whatnot. I truly believe his best days are ahead of him too. You saw his first 2 years didn't play as much at tight end, and then the third year had a pretty good year. Then last year kind of exploded in terms of production and all that. I'm not going to put a number or anything like that on what his production will be, but I believe his best days are ahead. He just works too hard at it. He cares too much about it, and he's talented.
Uzama, he played with the second-year quarterback last year in Joe Burrow. I'm not comparing Zach to Joe Burrow, nor would that be fair. But is it kind of cool from your perspective that, yeah, we got a veteran, we got a character guy, we got a guy with postseason experience. We've seen he's a guy who's seen it turn around from the last team he's at. And oh, by the way, he experienced success with a young quarterback.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. I mean, he's seen a lot of quarterbacks in his years there, just being in the league as long as he has. Not that he's been in too long, but he's seen the quarterback carousel there in Cincinnati a little bit. Now they got the stability they got with Joe, and I'm sure he saw the development from year one to year two. He's a football guy, so even though he was with Cincinnati, he still knew what was going on with the Jets. There's just guys that know what's going on around the league, and so albeit he wasn't in the building last year, he knows what a rookie quarterback goes through. He knows what Zach went through, and like you just said, I mean, he saw what Joe did in the second year. Not trying to, like you said, compare or anything like that, but it'll be he'll be a good sounding board and good guidance for Zach in his second year.
What do you think of the pieces at receiver if health is there? Corey Davis,
No.
Elijah Moore, we saw his production. You guys draft Garrett Wilson, 10 overall. Braxton Berrios re-signs. Jeff Smith quietly really had a nice spring. Denzel Mims is still here as well, who I know you guys thought took some steps forward throughout the spring, and we can go on a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's a cool group. It's a talented group. It's a young group, outside of really Corey and Braxton. There hasn't been a lot of games played there, and that's at that position, coaching receivers for 2 years, there's something to be said about the amount of time spent on that field. It's so different than the college game. It's so different. The amount of bump man-to-man coverage that you're going to see every single Sunday, it takes time and reps. So it'll be fun to watch these guys grow. We're going to lean on Braxton and Corey in terms of just getting the young guys up to speed. Even though Elijah's going in his second year, he still missed a handful of games last year, and we all saw how he kind of took off there in the middle of the year, and it was unfortunate what happened. He's still a young football player. Garrett's a young football player. Mimsy's a young football player. Jeff Smith he's a quarterback, up until he gets to Boston College, and he played some good ball for us last year, and you already alluded to it in the spring. I thought he had the best spring out of probably anyone on our offense. I'm excited to watch him carry that over into training camp. So, again, it's a fun group. It's a young group. They're hungry, and it's going to be fun to watch them grow.
How would you characterize yourself as a play caller?
I try to put our guys in the best position to be successful. I'd like to think I'm aggressive. I want to be more aggressive, but again, I've learned that through the guy that's probably taught me the most in this business, and Kyle Shanahan. He's as aggressive as they come. He's not going to stop, and he's even with one of the better defenses in football in San Francisco the last few years, he's going to try to go score every single time they got the ball, and you're going to do that by being aggressive, getting the ball in your playmaker's hands and letting them go play. So that's what I took from Kyle, amongst many other things, but that's one thing that really stands out as a play call for him that you try to carry over.
I love that.
WynnBET is now live in New Jersey, and they're bringing the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas to online sports betting. Get in on all your favorite teams, players, and sports, from boosted parlays to live in-game odds on every major sport. They have what you need to win. Sign up today to receive a special offer, risk-free $1,000 sports bet. Download the WynnBET app now or visit wynnbet.com to start winning. WynnBET, an official sportsbook and gaming partner of the New York Jets. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at wynnbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in New Jersey. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-270-7117.
Zach, where did he grow most? If you had to point to one thing last year, and now after the spring, what are you guys really going to be honing in on with him here throughout his second training camp? Because he does have his feet underneath him now.
Yeah, no, what's cool about going in the second training camp is now the unknown of what NFL football is like, that he knows. He played a season last year, albeit missed the 4 games. He's gone through a training camp. He's gone through a preseason. So you don't have to even teach that or watch him organically kind of grow into that. He knows what to expect when he steps out on that grass, on Wednesday. So that's awesome. So what can you really focus in on? You can focus in on the job that needs to be done for his position. And for him, being able to have this offseason to go through our offense again, to clean a lot of things up. That's whether you're the best offense or the worst offense, you're always just trying to find ways to clean up your own offense, add to it, take away, adapt to what the defenses around the league are doing. We feel like we did that this offseason. We feel like he has a good grasp on it. For him, it's just getting out there and getting those reps. We've put a big emphasis on just getting our eyes in the right spot, not worrying about the 8 guys over to the left when the concept is over to our right. We have to focus in on what's going on over here, and going through your progression and not having to know too much. Getting your eyes in the right spot, having nice active feet, and going and playing football.
That speaks to his insatiable appetite. He can't get enough, right? So is that hard for you as a coach, or is it hard processing at times for him because he does want to understand everything, where you're saying as a coach, you don't have to take it all in, because if it's like this over here, you can let it go.
Right, and that's where you're right. He wants to know everything, but what I do believe he has learned over this last year is knowing everything, knowing that I don't need to worry about this side of the field with this particular concept. We call it across-the-board reads within our system. Green Bay, L.A., San Francisco, the Dolphins probably, Cincinnati, where there's nothing that could even take you to the other side of a progression. You're always starting one side no matter what the coverage is, and then your eyes will dictate and when guys are covered to go across the board. And then that stuff's going to matter, but you're going to throw to open holes. You don't even know who's under. You're just throwing to open holes, and you're playing fast. And you've had so many reps at it through OTAs, through training camp, through the preseason, through all the walkthroughs that are so important for a quarterback and an offense and a defense and a team to get meaningful reps. So I do believe he is trying to soak it all in, but he's understood that is what soaking it all in is not worrying about so much.
A pet peeve of mine is when people chart passes during training camp, and they'll say, well, Wilson was 7-8 and 7-7, and he was 9-16 in team periods and things like that, because my argument on that, my counter has always been, you don't know what you guys are doing as far as installations are concerned. You don't know what the defense might be throwing at them. It is a different look. With that being said, can you talk about the situations that you guys do out here on the practice field? Because sometimes we might be watching a team period and it's 3rd long, and you might be telling them, I don't know. You might be saying, hey, go past the sticks no matter what. It's 3rd and 8. You got to get a first
totally.
down.
There's that question could be answered in about 1 hour, because there's so much that goes into a practice and prepping your quarterbacks to be prepared to play on Sundays when it gets to the regular season. But you're not only just trying to prep them, you're trying to put the receivers in different spots to give them different looks, to be able to, again, check the boxes that they're going through all of it. O-line, you're taking guys in, you're taking guys out, you're running different choice and option routes with guys that haven't had those options yet with Zach or with the other quarterbacks. So that's going to dictate, the completion percentage. I think when ultimately, yes, you want a high completion percentage, right? Like organically over the month or 5 weeks of training camp, like the higher it is, the better obviously he's playing. But there's so many variables that we don't really look at it day to day. You're just looking at the play. Is the quarterback making the best decision for that play? And there were times last year when he would make a mistake, I'd call the same play a few plays later, knowing that it's probably not going to be very good against the defense. I just want to see if he's going to make my bad play worse, and any of the quarterbacks, just to see if they're learning on the fly as well. So there's times out there you're not really concerned what the defense is doing. Unlike on Sundays when we play Baltimore, we're always going to be concerned what the defense is doing. When we go against our defense, there's going to be plays that are going to be absolute dead plays, and I don't really care. I want to see him either check it down, go off schedule, throw the ball away, do whatever's best. That's going to play into the completion percentage that might not be as good that day, So
you got a new head coach in the division, Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
How do you think he's going to do? And something struck me when we were in Mobile. Robert was asked about him. and he raved about him. You were on that staff with him, and I think you would call him a good friend.
Yeah.
What is he going to bring to the table?
He's Mike is it's kind of well documented. Mike McDaniel is he's going to be Mike, and I've been with Mike since 2014. Before that, he was with my brother. 2008 on through Houston, Washington. So I've known Mike for 14, 15 years. One of my best friends, not just in this profession, but in life. He is such a good coach. That's an understatement. The players respect him. He's going to be who he is within his own personality every single day. He's never going to change, but he's a good human. He was such a good friend to have in the building. Again, going back to 2014, every year I thought we just got closer and closer to our time in San Francisco. It wasn't fun leaving him because I was so close with him, but it was just obviously time to move on, a great opportunity, and it was his time to move on, and what a great opportunity he has. So I love Mike. I wish him nothing but the best. Everyone roots for Mike. Unfortunately he is in our division, so just like the Packers, I hope they win every game but versus us.
That's what I was
I
gonna
hope
ask
Miami
you.
I hope Miami wins every game except for if it affects the Jets. So our 2 games and any other game that it would affect us.
Were you pissed he wound up in the division? Because, yeah, it's great. Your buddy has got a high coaching job and well-deserved, but I'm not even just thinking that you got to compete against him. I'm thinking in terms of you guys might have similar thoughts on personnel, systems. So down the line, free agency and draft, that all comes into play.
It's a good question because that is true. Like that. When he got the job, you're not thinking about the division. You're just so happy for him and his wife Katie and their family that he's getting this opportunity. So you didn't even care where it was. But then once you processed all that, like we can't talk about free agency, we can't talk about the draft. We really can't even talk too much about schemes,
right?
Because we are in the division, and that is what it is. This is the Jets, and we're worried about the Jets. It was very similar to 2020 in San Francisco because we played Green Bay in the NFC Championship. We both had high expectations going into that 20 year. So Matt and I didn't talk too much about free agency and some of the draft guys and all that. Didn't even talk too much scheme that year. So even though we weren't in the same division, we just felt like we were going to see each other somewhere in the playoffs. So yeah, I mean that is kind of what it is, but ultimately, oh well, it doesn't matter. Again, I hope they have so much success, except for the 2 that we have.
Yeah. We had Brick in your seat. We also had Brant Boyer, and I'm asking all the coordinators this: do you have a favorite training camp memory, something that stands out, or experience, whether good or bad? Boyer brought up 2 days, or basically 3 days of practicing and excessive heat.
Those 2 have those guys have different experiences. They played a lot of years, and they played before there were a lot of the rules that we have now. Putting me on the spot, favorite training camp moment. I'm not even going to answer that. Last year was really cool going to Green Bay. Just being able to practice in that environment, going against a team that had been the NFC Championship 2 years in a row. So for a very, very young team and a rookie quarterback and a new staff, to be able to kind of just see how things are done there, that was really cool. And, we had a lot of family and stuff there. And, again, you don't have that pressure of an actual regular season game. But I'll go back to 2014, my first year in a training camp. You don't really know what to expect. Although Matt had been in the league for 8 years, so you kind of that was all I knew. But I mean, we were doing special teams. I was at Cleveland. We were doing special teams walkthrough till what I felt was 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. I mean, guys can't even keep their eyes open. I couldn't keep my eyes open. I mean, those days were long. And then you're turning around, you're getting in bed by say midnight, and you're back in the office at 5 a.m. And that was 5 weeks. And fast forward to 2022 and how different the league is with the training camp.
Sure.
and the amount of time that you have with these guys. I mean, the vets around the league are out of the building by 7:15. And I'm not saying one's better than the other. It's just so different. So I do, as new QCs come and go, I always like to remind them, even I'm not one of the old guys, but in 2014 it was a lot different than it is now.
And what keeps you going? What's the must drink? Are you a coffee guy?
I'm a coffee guy. I'm a coffee guy. I'm not a.
How many ounces you pounded through?
I don't know. I just ordered a new Jura coffee machine.
You got it in the office?
I just ordered it 2 days ago.
Okay.
So Sal's I've always had one at home. I'm a huge coffee guy. I love coffee, love good coffee. And so we ordered a machine. Salah had one, but it's like getting maintenance or whatever. I didn't even want to mess with it. He has his door shut a lot, so that's going to ruin my coffee intake. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to order my own. So I got one coming. It's supposed to be here this weekend.
I'm going to have to come down and get a brew here
Yeah,
in camp.
come on down. It's Jura. It's good coffee.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Yeah.